Hello, everyone, and as always, welcome back to Strategy Gaming Dojo, where we find, learn, and play one more turn of the great strategy games. And today it's into the best war game ever made, Gary Grigsby's War in the Pacific Admirals Edition. This is our Let's Play against the devilish Mr. Lodrick, and it is now March 19th, 1942. We're going to see the combat resolutions for March 19th and March 20th, as we are playing 2-day turns, and so we'll see what Lodrick has in store. Hopefully, our flock of seagulls that are in Cagayan on the island of Mindanao in the Philippines can continue to wreak havoc. We've got carriers about. We'll see where they're headed and going. When I say we've got carriers about, Lodrick has got carriers about that we're trying to defend from. They are now north of Nomaya, heading potentially back to Japan. Could be. He may be stocking them, resupplying them somewhere else, rearming them potentially in the Philippines at Manila. I don't know. We don't have any recon up there, and honestly, in some respects, it doesn't matter right now where he's doing it because we don't have anything that can stop it. But anyway, let's go ahead and jump into March 19th, March 20th of the year 1942. Use the old college password to get back in. No kidding. Well, I shouldn't even say that. My gosh, on this stream, my dad would be apoplectic that I talked about my password or even showed it on the screen. But tell you what, I don't really care. If you break into my War in the Pacific game, well, God bless. Come back and maybe we'd be better off after a turn. I don't know. That'd be embarrassing. I'd be like, Stanley hacked my game, and now all of a sudden we're in a better position. Okay, going through the night phases. And we've got a Japanese sub just off of Tasmania, and he's gotten into an AK. Now, we have escort with these, but again, they are slipping through because we don't have, you can see it. The destroyer Drayton was along for the ride here, but a Japanese sub gets into it on the way into Melbourne. The Harry Luckenbach, there's lots of Luckenbachs. If you've played the Allies, you'll know. Torpedo hits one, says heavy damage. Let's see. Well, they didn't even give us a chance to ponder whether the Harry Luckenbach would survive. Down it went. So we've lost a little bit of shipping this time around. Again, the American ASW just isn't very good. So you're going to sometimes catch them, sometimes they're going to slip through. But you can only send, you've only got so many destroyers. You send one with a cargo task force, that sometimes is all you can do. Okay, we're doing some merging. As you saw the Japanese subs off Perth there, that flashed by quickly. We're merging up destroyers. Hopefully that helps. Now all of our recon and naval search aircraft are reporting back. Our DO-24K1s are flying up over Singapore, which is kind of dangerous, but okay, they're giving us some information. We spotted a Japanese sub off of Colombo, some south of the Philippines, some ships south of the Philippines, and we get our first Japanese bombing run in China of the turn, but instead it's just a sweep over the top. So 10 Oscars come in, sweep over the top of Changsha. And now we've got a bombing run, an actual bombing run. 46 bombers come in on the group east of Yan'an. We damaged one plane, 39 casualties on the ground. Now southeastern China. Got about 50 bombers in there. One Lily was damaged, 25 casualties on the ground. We have not been destroying many planes by flak, I'll tell you that, and you don't usually do that in China. China just doesn't have a lot of anti-aircraft. 27, one damaged plane, no casualties on the ground that time. Two Oscars sweeping over Changsha again. They find nothing. 39 bombers on the group, the stack east of Yan'an. We take 22 casualties on the ground. 28 bombers on the group west of Yan'an. We take 163 casualties on the ground there. We don't like that. 17 Lilies in on that group west of Yan'an. We take 82 casualties this time for one damaged plane, so it took a good 250 casualties on the ground from bombing that time. This is the group trying to limp its way back to Hengyang. 16 Sonyas here, one damaged plane, no casualties on the ground. 20 more bombers on that same group. 8 casualties on the ground this time. Okay, this is the group in southeastern China. And we've got nothing. No damage, no casualties on the ground. Now our troops on the ground are sighting Japanese aircraft, getting all of those reports in. Okay, aircraft landing. The first wave of bombing runs this turn. Well, a little less than usual, maybe. We're seeing float planes near Dunedin. We're saying on the northern coast of Australia, we saw something moving. We claim there are 9 ships near Cole Harbor. I very much doubt that's true. Okay, we got the second wave of bombing. The Bettys, the Nells coming in here near Sabolga. I just like to say Sabolga. 9 casualties on the ground. 13 more Nells in on that same stack. And 22 casualties on the ground there. 5 Tojos. Running a sweep over Wu Chao. They don't find anything. We're sighting aircraft again. This is kind of the afternoon part of the sighting. So there's a morning air phase and an afternoon air phase. That's why you see it twice. And now we go to the land move attack phase. This is usually the last phase. Deliberate attack at Lan Chao. And so the Japanese are, I mean, he's got way too much strength. Look at that super army he's put together. This is about, what, 10 divisions strong at least with a lot of artillery. I mean, there's just nothing we can do about that, if he's going to put together a super army. And we've been talking about this, we've got to get units behind him and just try to cut supply. I mean, that's all we can really do. Now, amazingly, we hold here. So he's got 216,000 troops here at Lan Chao. We've got 44,000. He's got 2,200 guns and 1,250 tanks. So essentially, everything he's got in the north has got to be balled up in that. I mean, he couldn't have too much else, and that tells us what we should do. We got to get around him. But for now, I mean, I'm not sure what to do with these units because it's the Red Chinese Army and whatnot. Usually, I take them up to signing, maybe up this way. Now he's already taken some of these bases, and maybe we flee this way and just go up the road and try to take these back and trap the army up there that he's got. I mean, that's one thing we could try to do. Um, 3-1 here. We did have a fort level 2. Well, that's not true. We must have had a higher than that. Oh, yeah, we did. We had a 3. He reduced it to a 2. Our combat modifiers, we did have a plus for the terrain, of course. He did take 10,808 casualties. Okay, well, that's the first time we've had a really good result like that. I mean, Lan Chao was a level 3 fort. So we only destroyed 60 squads, so people have talked about this in the comments, and it's true. Ultimately, if they're disabled, they can rebuild, right? 60 destroy, or they can reconstitute themselves is a better way to say it. 60 squads destroyed, while we lost 193 destroyed. There's no way we can hold on here, and really, we just probably need to get going up this road and try to take these back. But this is 600 total points between Lan Chao and signing. Not good. Not good, Houston. Uh, okay, bombardment attack down here in the southeast. And it looks like that may be the big action this time around. So we attack Lan Chao. You see our fortifications expanding. But it's all, and look, I have never really played a full-on partisan type war in China. And whenever I say partisan war, just so you know going forward, what am I talking about? It's splitting up units that are armies that I would normally keep together in kind of a, bigger fortification sense and putting them out into different hexes, even if they don't have bases and whatnot, and just trying to cut off his supply because it's the only way we could stop an army of 216,000 men. I don't even know how he's getting enough supply where he is to make that possible. I mean, if we look up there, he's only really got a minor road. We've got to cut off that rail that is coming in, up to the north. It kind of comes from east to west and then cuts north. We got to get on that rail. Other than that, I'm not sure, how many other good ideas I have. If cutting off his supply doesn't do much when he's got 216,000 men in an army in China in bad terrain, I'm not really sure what else we can do. But I've played this sort of game before, just not to the extent we're going to have to here. I've never seen anyone, just create essentially 3 super armies. Maybe he's got 4 in China and just try to roll things up. But we're going to have to adjust to it and adapt to it. It's not a complaint about the game. I've just never seen it before, and we're going to have to see if we can counteract it. Now, if we can't counteract it, then I'll say it's either my fault or the game's fault. But until we, kind of explore what we could do with this, I don't want you to think I'm saying, oh, well, this is totally unrealistic. Maybe it is to have that many men in an army in China, but maybe it's not. I mean, think about and I get that the terrain of China is completely different, but think about the Eastern Front, Axis Soviets. I mean, you had much, much larger armies than that operating in smaller, more confined spaces than what he is now. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm going to do my best to try to, initiate that partisan style war. Okay, it's March 20th, 1942. He's got a sub. Hopefully, this is a destroyer. It is. Hey, we found him for once. During the night here, we find SSI 162. Looks like we got some depth charges going down. Maybe we hit him? Yeah, we got a hit on I-162. So the Stuart was bringing in, you just see the auto Lycus here, but there's actually several cargo ships. It just happens to be the one that would have been under attack immediately. The Stuart gets a hit in on a sub. Well, it's about time. I mean, we got to make him pay for what he's doing out around Perth, certainly. Okay, troops are unloading at Catan Duanas. Easy for me to say. And he'll take that base. We don't have anything there, obviously. Yeah, I've had times certainly where people consolidated quite a bit, right? But nothing to this scale where it appear. I mean, he seems to leave one. I don't know if it's probably not even a division. I don't know, a battalion or a regiment behind at places, and then he consolidates everything else into this rolling thunder of super army. He seems to have three or four. I mean, it could be more, but that's just what I've detected so far, or what we've detected. Um, and so, when we get back up to China, we'll go look at China during the setup phase next time. We're just going to have to split up some of our now at Aichang or places like that. We're going to have to keep a pretty decent force, but we're going to start splitting corps out and sending them on their own to go sit on rail hexes, on road hexes, and see if we can disrupt his supply a bit. 3-0s over Kagayan. They were looking for our flock of seagulls, did not find them. 42 bombers in here east of Yan'an. Okay, I'll just stop here while we're doing this. I've got these guys coming down the road, right? I've got this stack. I've got this stack that's trying to get out. Once they get on the road here, we got to start thinking about how do we cut these big armies off. He's got a huge army at Cyan. We can't see it right now. This army is actually probably blocking his supply here. What I was talking about, the supply into Lan Chao, 216,000 men, he's got this one road that kind of goes through the Gobi Desert, crosses a river here, gets up, towards the mountains. We need to start setting units up out here, right? That also helps our supply situation in some ways because we're, low on supply in certain areas because the Chinese just don't have a lot. If they're out here in single core formations, they can live off the land a little bit. So it's going to be all about trying to do that, on this road. If you look at the supply situations in the north, it all has to come down this road, this road. I mean, even this rail doesn't really connect to anything, right? And neither does this. So it's all roads. This road doesn't even connect. So you've got one, two, three roads that have got to be supplying, I don't know, 400,000 Japanese troops. So we've got to try to get around behind him back here somehow. 50 casualties, one damaged plane. All right, 19 Sally's in here. 48 casualties on the ground. Down in Wu Chao. I'm partying in Wu Chao tonight. Tojo's 5 over the top with a sweep. Two Oscars sweep over Changsha. 24 Anns on the group east of Yan'an. 21 Sallies come in to the group west of Yan'an. We take 18 casualties on the ground there. 18 Anns on the group east of Yan'an again. 8 casualties there. Okay, group west, the stack west of Yan'an. 18 casualties. Now he's chasing us down that road there. I was trying to get those guys out, but now we may kind of reconsider what we do with them. Because, maybe we just set up one per hex and just try to keep him occupied. We don't want to lose the war in China. We want it to come to a obviously. I mean, I get that's obvious, but we're not even trying to win it. We just want it to be a stalemate, right? One damage Sonya, because if he can free up a lot of troops out of China, it's very, very hard to stop the Chinese. I've never had that, or Japanese, I'm sorry. Um, I've never had that happen to me, but I've seen games where that's happened. And it's just, once they can move two or 300,000 troops out of China, it's too much. It's just too much. You can't get enough across the Pacific to counteract that, really. All right, we're sighting all of their aircraft flying over the top. 10 Oscars on a sweep over Changsha. So we've lost one cargo ship this time, and we have hit a submarine this time. So we're reporting some ships out by Adu. We're seeing things, of course, over by Port Moresby. We say we see something near San Luis Obispo. I mean, that's right off the west coast of the United States. I very much doubt that. You know, you get these phantom sightings because your coast watchers or the people on the ground will report in planes and they're right about that, but it's actually your own planes. They just can't, they misidentify them. That's why you get so many phantom sightings, you know, in the U.S. West Coast or Alaska. 39 Bettys. This is the group, the swamp rats north of Port Moresby. I mean, they're just kind of sitting there. I don't really know what to do with them. I mean, there's not a base left in Papua that we can take them to, and we don't have any, obviously, transports that can go over and pick them up. So, okay, 93 casualties on the ground, one damaged plane. 27 Nells in here, 112 casualties on. So they're taking massive casualties there on the ground. Got some subgroups, some squadrons consolidating there at Nomaya. That happens when you transfer a squadron from one base to another, and it leaves behind some planes that are in maintenance or getting or damaged. Once they're repaired, then they'll fly on automatically. We've got the Mari out there that got hit out by Suva. It says its temporary flotation is starting to fail. Boo. Probably end up losing that destroyer. All in all, this has not been a bad turn for us. We put a little bit of a, punch back there at Lan Chao. Now, ultimately, we're going to lose that. Maybe as soon as right now. Let's find out. Okay. You can see the numbers clicking down as you go, as casualties are taken off the board. Again, as someone else said, okay, he only takes our fortifications down to one, so from two to one, you can see the adjusted assault value: 6580 to 953, 208,000 troops, 2200 artillery, 1250 on the AFVs. Just an overwhelming force, but you can see once it all gets adjusted out because of terrain, fort level, everything else, he doesn't have that big of an advantage on us. Although this time, well, it was about even as far as the casualties reported. We did destroy more squads this time, 129. He destroyed 262 of ours, non-combat engineers. He lost 44 guns and 26 vehicles. We lost 13 guns. So all in all, a pretty decent result for us. But we are about to get kicked out of there. And once we get on the run, we get really vulnerable as the Chinese. Bombardment in the southeastern part of the country. And that's really going to do it for this turn. So a little bit quieter, I guess, out at sea, certainly. We did lose a cargo ship down by Melbourne. We did hit a submarine over by Perth, I believe. So that was good. I mean, it's nice to finally get a hit on one of those submarines over by Perth. Even if we didn't destroy it, he's probably got to take it somewhere now and get it repaired. So get it out of the way, so more of our shipping can get through. Maybe not menace our shipping as much off Perth. Although I think he's got multiple sub groups down there, so we'll see. Very trying times in China, certainly. I really like his strategy. Certainly, it's within the rules of the game, and so I think he's doing an excellent job. We've just got to figure out how to counteract it. I've been racking my brain exactly how to go about this. We'll see if I've got enough horsepower upstairs to pull off stopping this Japanese juggernaut. But we'll do that when we come back next. Will we do that? Well, we'll try to do that when we come back next time. You can see we got a whole bunch of ACMs in. We got some planes into Calcutta. And that's it. All right, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this. I know I do every damn time. This is such a great game and gives you so many different challenges and different. You've got so many different theaters here. You got a different challenge, whether it be at air, amphibious, at sea, on the ground. It's just a fantastic game. So anyway, Strategy Gaming Dojo. I'll talk to you next time. Have a good one.